潮玩飛鏢 All About Darts。
各位聽眾，歡迎嚟到潮玩飛鏢呢個節目，我哋又響中同大家見面。我係你嘅主持Robert， 今日同我一齊嘅有我哋嘅飛鏢專家Peter Scott， 同埋有一個嘉賓就係叫 Gobi Logan。呢個嘉賓係與別不同嘅，有咩特色？我哋一陣間再講。Okay, welcome to our program, ladies and gentlemen. And today we have this All About Darts program, and I'm your host, Robert. And with me is Peter Scott and our guest, Gobi Logan. Now, Gobi is a special kind of guest that I haven't really gone into this type of situation before. But as to what it is, I'll let Peter to kick off, say hello to everybody. Gobi?
Hello. Hi.
Yeah, Peter?
that was Gobi saying hi to everybody. And Peter Scott here is saying hi to the listeners. And we have a very interesting and different kind of program for you this evening. Gobi is a competitive player. He's played in the leagues and so forth, but now reserves himself for competitions. So it should be quite interesting for those players who are aspiring to be a competitive player or even more.
Yeah, and just to follow up, I used the word freelance at the start of the program before we hit the button. I was saying, it's such a different thing. Usually our guests belong to a club, and then they stick to different routines and association. But here we have somebody who is into everything, kind of without any affiliation, as far as I know. So 各位觀眾，今日我哋呢個嘉賓呢，有同以前嘅有少少唔同。點解呢？因為我哋以前訪問嘅嘉賓呢，一般呢都係同有一啲會所啊，有啲關係啊，飛鏢會啊咁樣嘅。但係呢位嘉賓呢，佢完全係專注於比賽，係同任何嘅會館啊、飛鏢會啊係完全冇關係嘅。So 咁所以呢個係一個好特別嘅嘉賓。So Peter, I'll let you get off and ask Gobi some questions.
Gobi, where were you born and where were you brought up and how did you get introduced to darts? There's 3 questions for you right off the bat.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Peter. I'm born in Singapore.
In Singapore?
I'm born in Singapore. Yeah. I came to Canada.
Yeah, very similar to myself. I came to Canada when I was 20 years of age.
Oh, wow. Oh, when I came here was when I was 17, 16.
Yeah.
I did my overseas up here. Ended up in Lake Edu and in Thunder Bay.
Thunder Bay.
And that's why my first darting career kind of started out.
So let me cut in here. Gobi, do you don't stay in Thunder Bay now, do you?
No, I'm not in Thunder Bay. That was my first pioneering years. That's about 20 years ago. I've been playing darts for about 20 years now.
Oh, you just give away your age.
Oh,
but
no.
anyways, yeah, so just very quickly, where are you staying now? What is your...
I live in Milton.
Milton, okay.
Ontario, yes.
Okay, yeah, we all know where that is on 401, just a little west of Mississauga there, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so let me get this through to the other side of the audience here. 我哋歡迎呢個嘉賓嚟到接受我哋訪問啦。首先Gobi 咧，因為呢個唔係一個咩嘅節目，亦都冇咩分別，就係Gobi其實係一個咁佢係有色人種嚟嘅，咁佢係咧好奇怪咁喺即係有啲特別啦，就係新加坡出世，但係嚟咗加拿大就係17歲嘅時候已經係嚟咗我哋呢個北邊嘅城市叫 Thunder Bay， 即係雷灣啦，係嘛？可能你知邊度？咁就開始咗佢嘅飛鏢生涯。咁佢而家嘅住嘅地方咧就喺 Milton 啦。Milton 大家都知道係一個響密市再西少少，啱響401出去嘅地方嚟嘅。Okay, so I guess more follow up from Peter here.
Yeah, Gobi, you started playing darts how long ago?
20 years ago.
And that was in Thunder Bay?
It was in Thunder Bay.
Okay, where was it? Normal league?
You see, when you're new to the game, you don't usually end up joining a league, anything whatsoever. So the interest that actually drew me to playing darts was a poster saying an open dart tournament in league. So in university, when I was having lunch, I went past a poster saying, there's a dart tournament, why don't we come out? And we, with my friend, my student friend, we went by the cafeteria and we saw this poster and said, hey, do you know how to play darts? No, I don't. All right, let's try it out for the first time. So that day, that very hour, we went to the closest Canadian Tire. We bought ourselves 2 sets of darts, and we started practicing darts for this dart tournament. And that was my first exposure to darts. So we're playing darts for the very first time, not knowing how the game is played, and entering a tournament to play it. And it's funny because at this tournament, you became spotted out because you were playing darts the non-regular fashioned way, because you were going after numbers and you were going after outs, which are not orthodox by the out sheet per se. So that's how you get spotted, and that's how I started learning the games from all the other pros around me, and not even pros, like even mentors who are seen in the dart circuit.
Okay. So it seems like okay. Let me just try and explain a little here first. That OK 我哋呢位嘉賓咧，佢就係20年前已經開始玩呢個飛鏢。咁佢開始嘅時間咧就係當然喺雷灣嗰度啦。咁佢亦都提到佢係喺呢個大學嗰度嗰陣時第一次嘅。佢行過見到有一個 poster， 即係有一個告示啊。就話玩飛鏢有比賽喎，咁佢就當堂即係覺得有興趣參加喎，咁佢就當晚買咗第一套嘅飛鏢就落咗去玩啦。So just to follow up from my curiosity here, Gobi. So usually I would thought that a story like that would tell us that you go in for the first time, you haven't really practiced, I'm just guessing here. Yeah. You got in there, nobody really coach you anything. You go in and you maybe hit the jackpot the first time.
Yeah. You know, we always dream of hitting that jackpot the first time. It was really neat. But at this very first tournament that I played in, I had a meal, a free lunch. Was supplied with a dart tournament atmosphere. And not only that, but I won the door prize, which gave me another set of darts. So I was in the winner's highlight, you know.
Yeah, but you didn't really win it because you didn't have any coaching. You haven't really practiced. You just went in cold, you know.
I went in cold,
and you
with an open mind.
Yeah, and you finished okay, but you didn't win.
That is correct. Yes.
Not the first time, but it does get your curiosity. Exactly. You got a door prize. You got a free lunch. What more can you ask? And I figured that if it's Thunder Bay, it's a university there or college,
it's right? University Lakeview.
Lakeview, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I know a few people.
But that's the beauty about it. It's because it was not competitive and it was fun to just start you off on your feet to being a competitive player. I think that really got me going.
I thought that because I see that you're so tall, it almost fit into the profile of a basketball player more than a darts player, right? My first impression when I see you, right? You could do well as a basketball player. Reach out, put the ball in. Okay, 咁呢個Gobi 我哋個訪問嘉賓就同我講緊呢件事，就係話佢第一次去參展，我話哇會唔會係即係第一次就係即係中獎啊！即係話中就係中啦，不過唔係話贏咗嗰個冠軍，而係我去有一個免費嘅午餐，同埋仲有一啲所謂門口嘅抽獎俾啲獎我。咁於是咧都係對我嚟講係件好刺激嘅事啊！佢話咁嗰陣時就讀緊大學啦，大家都有呢件，咁我就話呢個大學我話嗰度好似啲籃球出名，你次 似籃球咁嘅身形啊！我見佢咁高咁大，就多過似玩飛鏢嘅身形。So, anyways, that was an interesting startup. So maybe just a very quick question before we finish the first segment. So when was the first time you win your first bucket of gold, your first tournament? From the point that you first got in, like is it half a year, 3 months? Can you remember?
From that time, I think it was the next year after. Then I was pointed out by a couple of competitors what avenues I had to take, certain leagues that you will have to join to get recognized. So you have to pick your leagues too, because to recognize, if you were to play in a league that is just in-house, the only people that are going to be knowing you those are in-house.
That's a very good point. I just thought that I just want to make it clear that you didn't really win your first one until 1 year or so after you got into it. Okay. I think with the translation we'll probably get into the end of the segment, so let me just walk through this. Okay. 咁呢位先生就係佢講我哋呢位訪問嘅就係佢講我問佢幾時掘到第一桶金啊，即係贏到第一個賽啊。佢話係要玩咗1年之後，佢話最主要嘅就係佢知道唔係淨係可以參加任何嘅會嘅，因為咧如果參加啲細嘅會咧冇人識你，你一定要揀到一啲會係可以俾到一啲方向你。俾到一啲曝光你然之後你先至可以贏到啲大賽賺到錢啊，先至係即係所謂食到大茶飯係咪 ？Okay, so at this point we're gonna cut over to our sponsors and let them give us their message and so forth, and we will make an effort to come back in a few minutes. Okay, we'll see you around.
華語電台着數多，
一卡在手冇錯過。
Canadian Chinese Radio Jet to Card Special。
Tikka Tikka 印度美食，美味燒雞、傳統咖喱、燒薄餅，食過翻尋味。另有純素食食譜，地址喺6001號14街，電話905-2016-767，追逐家享有85折優惠。
Tikka Tikka Indian Delight at 6001 14th Avenue, Markham. 905-201-6767. Jet to Card 15% off。
飛鏢運動除強身健體之餘，仲可訓練頭腦，又可認識新朋友。由 Multicultural Dart Association 主辦嘅飛鏢訓練班現已接受報名，享譽國際嘅 Peter Scott 同飛鏢占士邦親自教導，5堂課程包用具，只需50蚊。報名及查詢電話416-496-9633。
Learn to play darts with Peter Scott and James Bong Faldas at Multicultural Darts Association. 5 sessions, equipment included, only $50. Please call 416-496-9633 for further details.
一做卡申請及查詢電話416-496-9633。華語電台着數多，一卡在手冇錯過。
潮玩飛鏢 All About Darts。
Okay, welcome back to our show, and I'm here, your host Robert, and with me is our co-host Peter. And our guest today is Gobi Logan. And the last little while in the first segment, we talk about the startup of Gobi and how he's a freelancer that is a little different departure from what we've been interviewing. So now I'm going to give the microphone back to Peter.
Gobi, I understand you played in a few leagues around Toronto before you went exclusively into a tournament player.
Yes.
Tell us a little about that, if you...
Yeah, no problem. I am leaving Thunder Bay and coming into Toronto. So the first question is, in a lot of people's mind, is how good are you? And so what I did was I participated in many tournaments or many league plays. I participated in all the leagues that are close to me in venue. So because in Canada it's funny, we got to deal with the snow, so we got to watch on traffic on the snow in the winter months and all the leagues. So I joined in 3 major leagues. I like on Monday nights I picked up the Monday Night Dart League up in Dixie area. Then Etobicoke I played a league up there, and I also played one in Barrie for Tuesday nights, and that was my longest league area. But you see, when I came down to this province, there was 2 different provinces Ontario was. One is Northern Ontario, one is Southern Ontario. So when I was in Northern Ontario, my stats wasn't translated down, so I had to make my own new rankings up in the Southern Ontario rankings. So joining the league really gave me a berth into the provincials.
Okay,我哋嘅嘉賓咧就同我哋講緊，佢最初咧就係落咗嚟多倫多，就咁因為安省原則上有一個南北之分，咁佢以前嗰啲響北邊響雷灣嗰啲記錄咧。就好似有啲好似當唔算數咁樣，你重新再次樹立佢自己響呢個比賽中嘅紀錄。So very quickly, let me just ask a quick question. So when the time you're talking about you were coming down to Toronto, that's after you finished university there at Lakeview, is that it?
Yep, at Lakehead I finished my university, and now it's time to find a job. Yes, in Thunder Bay. So it's like, okay, let's move down to Toronto, and where the jobs market's a lot better. But choosing your leagues with long formats is what I was really interested and geared towards. So
okay.
Following Peter's.
Yeah, Peter.
So you become a competitive player in the leagues.
Yes.
And you establish yourself there as a top-notch player, an A-type player.
Right.
Now, when did you decide to give up the leagues and turn to be a tournament player?
Well, all the leagues were there at one good purpose, and they were there for a league is a long-term tournament. But being in the tournament on the weekend, you get recognition for winning, and not only that, but I wanted to socialize with people from many other leagues, which you can actually find at the tournament. So that's what really geared me into moving into the tournament structure. Like I wasn't able to find the best player in Oshawa playing in a league in Milton because it was a long way of commute.
Right.
But I can meet the best player in Oshawa in a tournament. So by playing those tournaments is where I really tried really hard at the tournaments. Just to get yourself in stature, to go up in rankings. So the more tournaments you played and the more visible you were, that gave you edge and more accustomed to the tournament, and therefore you performed a lot better at tournaments.
Yeah, you become tournament seasoned.
The tournament season, yeah, that's a nice word. Yeah.
So can I ask? Is that because of your aggressive nature in pursuing tournaments? Because it seems to me, so far, everybody I have talked about, they all seems to be very content with the league, like a foot soldier, and slowly work its way up, and only go into tournaments when they have the time and money or whatever, and occasion to go there. And from this interview, it seems to me that you are different. It seems to me you are aggressively seeking tournament, if you don't mind the term.
Yeah, no, I don't mind the term. The reason why the tournament was it's there, it's good, is because I'm meeting champions from all leagues coming there, and that really tickled my edge, and that keeps you on your toes.
Right. Okay.
Because in your league, when you're playing the same guy again, you most probably play that same guy 5 times a day, and so you get more accustomed.
Okay. 其實我嘉賓就喺度講，高比佢喺度講，佢話佢中意 去呢啲咁嘅錦標賽嗰度，因為錦標賽呢就係武林大會啦，咁即係佢可以見到更多嘅高手，可以有更多嘅交流。因為佢覺得如果好似普通嘅人一樣，成日都響自己個會裏頭圍啊，玩嚟玩去都幾條友仔啊，咁呢係即係進步呢係慢嘅，係冇人賞識你嘅。咁所以我話你係咪好即係好 aggressive 呢？即係好咩呢？即係好即係好決心，好有雄心咁樣啊，去追求呢啲錦標賽呢。佢話冇錯嘅，佢話呢個絕對係佢嘅想法，亦都係佢嘅做法。咁因為只有咁樣先至可以見到更多高手，交流到更多嘢，做更多嘅接觸。Okay, back to Peter.
Kobe, how did this tournament play improve your darts personally?
It really made me a better person because you are now adapting to different styles and you're seeing all kind of styles. It's a lot different when you have something down the line and something you're defending. In a tournament play, I think a lot of people give up their regular routine, and on a tournament it's the one-day champion affair. So people do a lot, work harder to get that one-day champion affair. Like in the league, you might lay back for one day, and the next day you can psych up for. But being a one-day champion and meeting
There's no tomorrow.
There's no tomorrow, and the tournament is today.
And what did you learn from that?
I learned how to be actually to get accustomed. Like I learned to mindset to be really hard at actually doing your 100% at every single throw.
Yeah, this is the three elements of dart. First of all, you get mechanics on how to throw dart.
Yes.
Then you get the maths on how to score the game and so forth. And now this, becomes into the mental part, where you have that mental toughness to get yourself through a very top-notch dart tournament with high proficiency.
Exactly, and that mindset has to be. It's actually about 80% of your game.
Okay, when we come back, we'll talk about how you would recommend the beginners or the people that are aspiring to go to tournaments prepare themselves.
Okay.
I have a question for our guest here. Along these lines, maybe I detected the way you talk about this strictly from my own standpoint of looking at this, is the fact that maybe if people are always sticking with the league and occasionally go to tournaments, then at a tournament they are forced to do something different because now they're seeing different people. They are subconsciously changing, unconsciously I should say, changing their style, deviating a little, just to get that edge that they were not really up to it. Whereas if you always go to tournament all of the time, then you are always in that particular situation where you are accustomed to a tournament style play, the best way I could describe it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's why so many people fail. They seem to do okay in the league, and then as soon as they go out and play tournaments, they froze up. They trying something a little different, and then they make a mess, and they don't do it enough.
Overexertion.
Right. Whereas, as Peter says, there was this important three elements, right?
Right.
So I think our audience in the other language would probably want to hear all this, and then I would finish with this and switch over to the other segment in a minute. OK， 各位咁我哋啱講完一大堆咩呢？我哋就係講緊就係話我哋個嘉賓呢，佢成日去參加比賽，所以佢成日都喺呢個比賽狀態。我哋講緊啲咩嘢呢？我哋講緊就係我哋另外一個飛鏢教練啊 Peter 佢講緊飛鏢始終都係三樣嘢。第一就係個機械化啦，即係你點樣掟飛鏢啦。第二就係個計數啦，嗰度都有少少嘅戰略啦。第三就係一個即係好 mental 嘅，即係好有神經性嘅，即係好似個人控制嘅意志嘅。咁呢一個呢，就係三樣嘢合埋嘅。咁但係有好多時因為啲人就唔去到玩飛鏢，唔係成日出去做呢個錦標賽啊。 咁佢哋咧到咗即係玩順咗嗰個會嘅嘢嘅時候咧，到咗出嚟比賽嗰陣時咧，就覺得哇，好似人哋做緊啲嘢唔同喎，對手高咗，我要改少少。但係通常咧一改咧就衰咗，因為變咗你改嘅時候咧，就正正係改咗你唔同嘅，已經係做緊嘅成就，係試一樣新嘢。於是乎咧，好多時候咧就越試就越央，即係變咗即係人哋話陸雲亭睇相唔需攞嚟衰係咪 ？Okay, at this point we need to let our sponsors say something, and we're going to cut over to that. And when we come back, Peter will continue to ask our guests more questions, more experience, and more ideas to share with our audience here. So we'll cut out now, and we promise we'll be back as soon as possible. Thank you.
華語電台着數多，
一卡在手冇錯過。
Canadian Chinese Radio Jet to Card Special。
Tikka Tikka 印度美食美味燒雞傳統咖喱燒薄餅，食過翻尋味，另有純素食食譜。地址喺6001號14街，電話905-2016-767。朝頭街享有85折優惠。
Tikka Tikka Indian Delight at 6001 14th Avenue, Markham. 905-201-6767. Jet to Card 15% off。
飛鏢運動除強身健體之餘，仲可訓練頭腦，又可認識新朋友。由 Multicultural Guard Association 主辦嘅飛鏢訓練班現已接受報名，享譽國際嘅 Peter Scott 同飛鏢占士邦親自教導，5堂課程包用具，只需50蚊。報名及查詢電話416-496-9633。
Learn to play darts with Peter Scott and James Bong Faldas at Multicultural Darts Association. 5 sessions, equipment included, only $50. Please call 416-496-9633 for further details.
一號卡申請及查詢電話416-496-9633。華語電台着數多，一卡在手冇錯過。
潮玩飛鏢 All About Darts。
各位聽眾，歡迎你翻到嚟我哋潮玩飛鏢。我哋而家係第3節嘅時間。我哋今日嘅嘉賓就係 Gobi Logan。我就係你主持 Robert。仲有喺呢度嘅就係我哋另一位飛鏢教練主持，就係 Peter Scott。OK， 今日我哋而家訪問緊呢個嘉賓呢，就我哋啱講過，就係十分之特殊嘅。佢係自己即係自我教練嚟嘅。佢係一個，但係唔係個個都可以㗎，即係只係有一啲人佢可以用佢自己可以睇住人哋玩而學到嘢，咁呢一啲咧就係好高嘅境界。嗱，咁我而家咧就會交翻俾 Peter。Peter, so maybe you can now follow up and
Gobi, I think our listeners will be really interested in how the best way to prepare themselves for a tournament.
The best way to prepare.
Yeah.
Well,
how do you prepare yourself, and then maybe advise them what is the best way to do it?
All right. That's a tough one because everybody's different on how their mindset works. But for myself, what I do, like it's funny because people are superstitious sometimes, right? But you got to get the superstitions out, and you got to basic practice, practice, and keeping your mind strong. As I think that's the basis of how I kind of use that for my tournament play. Also, the practicing. You want to practice so hard that you want to do muscle memory to your arm so that it just automatically flows. That's the other practice. Just in case, in that tough matches, all you need to do is say yourself, I've done it before, and let your arm just do its magic.
Do its magic.
Do its magic. Practice.
咁呢一個都係一個好新嘅概念啦，就係肌肉記憶啊！佢話 即係咧你玩到咁上下咧，你嗰啲肌肉咧，簡直有一個記憶喺嗰度，就點樣揮發佢哋嘅。咁呢個係好特別嘅。咁但係因為佢都話每一個玩飛鏢嘅人，佢嗰個取向都唔同啦。咁變咗佢準備嘅方法咧又唔同嘅，因為我哋就問嘅呢個問題，究竟有咩特別準備嘅方法咧？咁仲有嗰啲迷信嗰啲，佢話我相信呢個要問題都要問下。So very quickly, I want to ask the question. You mentioned superstition. You mean to tell me there's people who are superstitious to the point where they are not going to shave or they wear a certain red T-shirt?
No, but no, it's actually like your darts itself. Like maybe people put a new set of shafts on. Or maybe even like a set of lights. Why do you use this kind of light? For the dull light, for the lightings, for reflections into your eye. Flight protectors, like little things like that. We're not putting socks on backwards. We can do that in the winter months, but there's something simple like get a new set of darts or flights and mentally prepare.
But precisely that's the wrong thing, because now you change the variables, right? In my mind, yes. I would stick to the same set of things and
keep it simple.
Routine.
Keep it simple. The lesser things you move, the lesser things you worry about.
Right.
One of the things that I find in a tournament is that people will try to change their throw. They will try and change their darts. I've seen them change their darts halfway in the tournament. And all of these are fatal. You cannot do anything in a tournament except focus on getting the dart onto that board at the right spot that you're aiming for. And that is all. And that's all you have to think about. All your practice is over. All of your tuning up of your darts is over. The only thing now is you and the board and the competition. And that is the secret of keeping a strong mind in a tournament.
Okay. That's right. 其實Peter 咧亦都同我哋講，佢話其實最主要嘅一樣嘢，尤其是喺比賽嘅時候，一定唔好轉啊！即係唔好轉咗啲嘢，唔好話好似啲人咁又轉咗啲飛鏢啊，用啲新嘅飛鏢啊，飛鏢頭啊，甚至係飛鏢翼啊，咁呢個係大忌嚟㗎。應該永遠都係用同樣嘅嘢，永遠都係用同樣嘅手法。咁嘅時候咧，嗰個失誤嘅機會咧係細咗好多好多。Okay, Pete, any other things that you want to ask Gobi?
Well, one of the things that I find is that, generally speaking, change is necessary to be a good player. If you are not a good player at the moment, then whatever you're doing at the present time is not working for you. So therefore, you have to change. And one of the things that you need to change strongly is this mental attitude that you talk about. And I'm really impressed with your mental attitude at tournaments, and also the fact that you can express yourself.
Yes, it's not to be afraid when you're out there. Think, what would the other person think if I were to do it? No, it's you and that dartboard and your darts. That's all it is, and then performance will just follow through. I think that's one of the key things. Just do it, and then you know what? If you hit a tournament this year and you came in third, next year set a goal for yourself. I'm going second. You gotta set goals. That's another key avenues to get yourself better.
Let me ask,
and also practice.
And practice will have to get your base.
While we were on the break, we talked about this, and I said Gobi seems to be a guy who is intuitive because he does not seem to have a whole lot of coaches coaching him. So it's a gift, and but I just want to ask the question relative to this. So if you could, looking at other people, observing other people to improve yourself, because that's what what that gift is without a coach, then is it also true that, okay, let's say you're in a tournament and you're not doing very, very hot, and you notice somebody else playing with you, against you, is doing really, really good. You observe that you could make that small minor adjustments but you really don't want to adjust yourself at that tournament. You want to adjust yourself after the tournament, using it in the practice and in the next tournament.
That's correct.
Is that the idea?
That is the idea. Take a little bit at a time. It's small stepping stones. It's always, you self-adjust it. Don't bring it back to your practice board. See what it does to you.
Right.
See whether it adapts. See whether you can conquer it. If you can't conquer it, then bad. Maybe it's bad. That one day affair.
With modern day technology, you can look at the best players in the world as they're playing under stress and competition. Look at the way they throw the dart. Every one of them will have certain basic fundamentals. These are called the principles of darts. If you adhere to the principles, the aim, the stroke, the stance, those kind of things will stay with you. Now there's all kinds of methods. They all weigh different, they have different dart weights and everything else are variables, but those strong principles come through.
I think to get to the bottom of this discussion is the fact that when you see somebody doing something good and you can adapt to your style, that's the key. You don't take the whole thing necessarily, because it might not be suitable to your physical, mental situation. But if you are able to pick the good parts and you integrate it, I use the word integrate, into your overall scheme, to take those small baby steps, then you can find improvement.
That's an excellent way of saying it.
Yeah.
It really is.
And like for me, like it's funny because the techniques. Yes, keep it simple, but I'm a left-handed player.
Oh, you are.
So that's a whole, like, I'm taking textbooks from right-handed stuff. And so with that ability, that's why I'm developing my own style, structure, and learning, taking the goods out of everything. So observation is the right key.
OK， 其實我哋講緊呢一段對話呢，完全係一啲心得嚟嘅。我哋嗰位嘉賓佢同我哋講呢，就係話我哋要慢慢嚟嘅，唔係每一樣嘢都可以隨便攞咗人哋睇咗人哋嘅就將落去等落自己嗰個訓練嗰度，同埋比賽嘅時間裏頭呢，係唔可以即刻將人哋啲嘢等咗落自己嗰度，因為有一個時間去實習，知道邊一樣嘢得，邊樣嘢唔得，而係翻咗屋企慢慢練習，試下邊一樣嘢唔得，邊一樣嘢得，然之後先至有慢慢嘅進步。進步係唔可以話一步到嘅，一定係要慢慢逐步嚟嘅。咁呢個就係佢話所有嘅真諦啦。Okay, Peter?
Well, this is Peter Scott, the mentor of the Multicultural Dart Club, saying good night and thanks for listening.
What? We are not
We're
saying
not
good night yet.
Oh, I thought you meant
no.
finished.
We still have one more segment after this. I'm just asking, should we carry on and ask a quick question of Gobi before the segment is over?
What I'd like to do is just make an open, give it an open forum. Is there something you would like to talk to the readers about and the up-and-coming dart players out there in listeners' land?
Yes, I do. Like I didn't want to sound like do not join any dart leagues. They are good in dart leagues, and they are the founders of this whole system of darts. You have to join dart leagues because they are like your parents.
Okay,
family.
Yeah, okay. 咁其實Gobi 咧就啱講就係話，其實都係參加一啲標會咧，始終都係一個好好嘅方向嚟嘅，因為佢哋好似家庭一樣咁，大家有扶持啊，慢慢尤其是你冇咁多時間去參加比賽。咁我哋而家就去我哋嘅廣告客戶嘅時間嗰度。我哋一間翻嚟咧，就同大家再作一個訪問嘅總結，好唔好？我係你嘅 host Robert。
華語電台着數多，
一卡在手冇錯過。
Canadian Chinese Radio Jet to Card Special.
Tikka 印度美食美味燒雞傳統咖喱燒薄餅，食過翻尋味，另有純素食食譜。地址喺6001號14街，電話905-2016-767。足球街享有85折優惠。
Tikka Indian Delight at 6001 14th Avenue, Markham. 905-201-6767. Jitsu card 15% off.
飛鏢運動除強身健體之餘，仲可訓練頭腦，又可認識新朋友。由 Multicultural Guard Association 主辦嘅飛鏢訓練班現已接受報名，享譽國際嘅 Peter Scott 同飛鏢占士邦親自教導，5堂課程包用具，只需50蚊。報名及查詢電話416-496-9633。
Learn to play darts with Peter Scott and James Bong Faldas at Multicultural Darts Association. 5 sessions, equipment included, only $50. Please call 416-496-9633 for further details.
一早卡申請及查詢電話416-496-9633。華語電台着數吧，一刻製酒冇錯過。
潮玩飛鏢 All About Darts。
Okay, welcome back to our show, All About Darts, and I'm your host, Robert, and with me now is James Bond, our coach, who's going to give us a darts update here. So with that, Bong?
March 28th, Ride to Conquer Cancer Adult Darts Tournament. Saturday at Royal Canadian Legion Branch 31, Mount Dennis, Toronto. 4-person team, $15 per person. Doubles, $15 per person. Registration at 10 a.m. Proceeds go to charity. Kitchen will be open for lunch. March 28th.
OK， 咁3月28號咧就有一個叫做Ride to Conquer Cancer Adult Dart Tournament， 即係咧係抗癌嘅比賽嚇。就咁咧就係禮拜六嚟嘅，就響呢個 Royal Canadian Legion 31號 Mount Dennis 多倫多有4個 person 嘅 team 咧15蚊一位，咁咧 double 咧又係15蚊一位。報名係10點鐘，所有一切收入捐慈善，咁同埋咧亦都有個廚房係開放俾大家食 lunch 嘅。
Drawn Benefit Dart Tournament for Barb Olinda. Saturday, March 28, 2015, Royal Canadian Legion Branch 11, number 9 Dawes Road, Toronto. Registration 11 to 12 noon. Play starts at 12:15 p.m. $10 per person. $2 optional high score and high finish. All money raised will go to Barb Olindo. Barb Olindo was a long-time member of the bar, steward of Royal Canadian Legion Branch 11. She had a stroke and unable to work or walk and suffers seizures. Darts players help fellow darts players. Email address adrmmond369@email.com. One door prize will be given to a lucky person who registers prior to 11:30 a.m.
Bong, this at Hotmail, you mean? This email address at mail.com?
Yes.
That's the first time I heard of it, but that's okay. 咁其實呢個仲有一個比賽咧，就係3月28號禮拜六啦，就亦都響呢個為咗某一個女士叫 Barb Olinda 嘅。咁佢咧就係響嗰個 Legion 嗰度做嘢，但係咧佢最近咧就有呢個中咗風，又唔行得又唔講得嘢啊！咁咧就呢個可能係籌備一個基金俾佢幫助佢嘅。咁到時咧就係11點至12點報名，12點15分開始，10蚊 每位，另外2蚊咧就如果邊個最高分啊，咁咧就仲有得分嘅。咁佢哋呢個聯絡嘅地方咧就叫ADRUMMOND369@mail.com。咁亦都有一個多 prize 嘅。Okay, more?
Darts Ontario proudly presents the 20th Annual Easter Open at the Darts Ontario Provincial Championships. $10,000 guaranteed prizes. April 3 and 4th, 2015. Events: ladies singles, men's doubles, ladies doubles, drawn doubles, men's singles. Entry fees: $10 drawn doubles, $15 singles, $25 doubles. Playing venue: Holiday Inn and Suites, Parkway Conference Center, 327 Ontario Street, St. Catharines, Ontario. Ladies and men's singles events: straight knockout, best of 3 out of 5. For additional information, please contact Adult Program Director. Email address: adult@dartsontario.com。
咁仲有一個大型嘅比賽就係第20屆復活節比賽公開比賽啊！咁咧就有10萬蚊獎金嘅總部嚟講，就係4月3號至4號啦。咁有男女單打雙打冚唪唥有齊。咁呢個入場費亦都係10蚊啦，15蚊同25蚊。咁佢喺邊度比賽咧？就係喺呢個假日旅店嗰度 Holiday Inn， 就係喺327號 Ontario Street St. Catharines 安省嗰度。咁如果你想有再多啲消息咧，就去contact 呢個成人嘅 director 理事啦。佢嘅 email 就係叫做 adult@dartsontario dartsontario.com 嘅。
Multicultural Dart Association aims to help promote darts as sport with educational, social approach and basic mechanics, plus highly competitive atmosphere in a friendly setting. MDA also aims to help promote darts players in both soft tip and steel tip darts. Visit MDA Clubhouse at Canadian Chinese Radio, Suite 200, 650 Highway 7 East, Richmond Hill, Ontario. Contact numbers 647-997-0808 for Chinese language, 647-712-5222 for English language.
OK， 多倫多其實呢個我哋呢個多元文化飛鏢協會咧，係幫大家去玩飛鏢啦，可以咁同埋咧，即係大家可以有一個好友善嘅環境之下去成長嘅。咁我哋亦都係會教呢個軟嘅同埋硬嘅尖嘅飛鏢投射嘅。咁你可以嚟我哋嘅 Clubhouse 嗰度，咁嗰個咧就係喺呢個華語電台200號 A 室650 Highway 7 East Richmond Hill Ontario 嗰度。如果有咩垂詢嘅，可以打電話中文647-997-0808或者英文647-712-5222。Okay, so that's kind of conclude our update of darts activity from Bong, and now we're back to our guests here. Peter, are you ready to give our guests a final rundown on any question that you may still have for him and share with our viewers?
We left when he was mentioning about the league being a family. I found that the leagues that I belong to give me companionship, the spirit of esprit de corps, teamwork, managing a team and working in a team. The other thing I think which is critical, they teach dart etiquette. You know, don't bother the man on the line, stay 3 paces behind him. Those kind of things which are critical, and most of all they teach you how to win and lose gracefully. And they accommodate the player who's not a competitive player, the one that doesn't want to go to the tournaments. but does like the social aspect
and the networking.
So your thoughts on this?
Yes, like you said, the leagues, it's amazing, but they're set up there in such a way where you're practicing at home all the time, but where are you comparing your practice with, and how do you stage it? So your leagues being like every Wednesdays or Mondays, the next week you can put it back out there and see how you perform. So it's a good judge factor for the next week.
My thought on this, though, is the fact that you bring up a good point, is that even though you're in a league setting, there are people who maybe are not super good, and yet they don't want to get into tournaments. They don't like all the traveling around. They don't like the pressure of performance, you know what I mean? And despite everybody got expectations, and some people are shy. They don't want to be pressured into tournament and ended up not doing too well, and that might damage their ego a little bit, right?
No, yeah, exactly. And when you're doing tournaments and being far away, sometimes it's nice to turn back and see a friendly face in your back, saying that guy is from the same league as you.
The other thing I think that should be brought out is there's a price to pay from going to tournaments, and that's usually on the family. Has this cost you some time with your family?
Oh yes, 100%. It costs a lot, because you know what, you're putting in a lot of time away from family, time with doing, and the best thing to do is try to do it with the family. Like when you're going to a Montreal tournament, go out with the family, spend that evening out.
So when you're talking about a family, you take your wife and children?
Yes, I try to, yes. I try to.
It becomes quite expensive, though.
Yes, but the exposure and the fun time and being with someone there, and you know what, you need to have those supportive people around you, because that's your backing.
Okay, so I think we need to wrap this up here very shortly. Let me just say that 其實我哋呢位嘉賓就講緊同埋 Peter 都講緊，就話響呢個標會裏頭有標會嘅好處啦。咁其實亦都有好多付出嘅，就係去比賽嘅時候，就係因為你最好咧帶埋啲家人一齊去啦。如果有家人一齊去嘅時候咧，咁當然咧就亦都有一個同佢哋分享你嘅經歷啊，亦都唔會疏遠咗家人啦。咁I think with this final comment and insight, we have learned a lot today from you, Gobi, and we really appreciate you coming to the station. So let's say goodbye to our audience.
That's right. Thank you very much for having me up, Multicultural Dart Association, and it's a great privilege. Thank you.
And that's Peter Scott, also a mentor of the Multicultural Dart Club, saying good night and thank you for listening.
Okay.
潮玩飛鏢。
好 ，That's Bond again。潮玩飛鏢佢話其實佢而家即係日日都講得更加啲好啦。我就係你嘅 host 主持 Robert。今日咧，我哋就嘉賓訪問咧到此為止。我哋得咗好多十分之有用嘅心得。我哋響下一次響大氣電波中再同大家，其實唔係大氣電波係咪？再同大家見面。OK， 拜拜。
華語電台着數多，
一卡在手冇錯過。
Canadian Chinese Radio Jet to Card Special。
Tikka Tikka 印度美食美味燒雞傳統咖喱燒薄餅，食過翻尋味，另有純素食食譜。地址喺6001號14街，電話905-201-767，足球卡享有85折優惠。
Tikka Tikka Indian Delight at 6001 14th Avenue, Markham. 905-201-6767. Jet to Card 15% off。
飛鏢運動除強身健體之餘，仲可訓練頭腦，又可認識新朋友。由 Multicultural Dart Association 主辦嘅飛鏢訓練班現已接受報名，享譽國際嘅 Peter Scott 同飛鏢占士邦親自教導，5堂課程包用具，只需50蚊。報名及查詢電話416-496-9633。
Learn to play darts with Peter Scott and James Bong Faldas at Multicultural Darts Association. 5 sessions, equipment included, only $50. Please call 416-496-9633 for further details.
一早卡申請及查詢電話416-496-9633，華語電台着數播，一卡製造冇錯過。